Hi, everyone. Welcome to our August Child Life Q&A. I'm Jacqueline Garborg, Hope for HIE's communication coordinator and HIE parent. I'm here again with Annie Gunning, our child life specialist and grief counselor. Hi, Annie. Can you please introduce yourself again and share a little bit about your role in supporting HIE families?
Yes, of course. Glad to be here again. I love doing these every month to share a little bit of information for our families. So, as Jacqueline said, I'm a child life specialist and grief counselor at Hope. And my goal or my role is to help support families that are coping with illness, coping with medical experiences or medical anxiety, illness, grief, and any kind of transitions or challenges, just helping siblings and children and families be able to work through these experiences to the best of their abilities.
Thank you. So, back to school season is officially here. Some of our HIE kiddos have already started the new school year, and others are still gearing to head back within the next couple of weeks coming up. Wherever you are on that timeline, this time of year can bring up a lot of big feelings for our families. For many children with HIE transitioning into the school system for the first time, or just coming back off of a longer summer break can come with some unique challenges. New routines, new environments, and new expectations can feel like a lot to navigate, both for the kids and for the parents who are supporting them. So, we are here with Annie to talk through what some of these transitions can look like and to get some tips and guidance on how we can help our children to feel more confident and supported as they head back into the classroom. So, our first question is what are some of the more common challenges that children face when they transition into a new school year or classroom?
Like you said, this is a very exciting time of year, but it can also be very challenging with these big transitions for kids. So we like to focus on the fun things and all the wonderful things they get to do, but at the same time, meeting new peers, meeting new teachers, that can be really hard and stressful. So they're learning who are these new faces, who are the new like adults in my life that are going to be in this position to support me. So maybe it's teachers that they've never seen before. Most of the time it is. Sometimes they have recurring teachers, that are in the school, but it's meeting those new friends, classmates, teachers that can be just a little bit stressful. And so we want to make sure that we are giving them the best opportunities and helping them meet these kids and they're feeling supportive. And so that's one of the things we're going to focus on a little bit today is how exactly we do that. So not only the teachers and the friends and the classmates, but they're also navigating this new environment, this new routine. So it's sensory input, it's accommodation plans, it's just maybe navigating the physical space of the room. If they have, devices that they're using or they need help with mobility. So it's figuring out all of these things. Oh yeah. And they have to be learning material too. So it's a huge transition for kids.
Yeah.
So just wanting to make sure like they're getting all those needs met in that classroom. And then also one of the other, big transitions is making sure the schools and the teachers, they're understanding your child's needs.
Yeah.
So the physical, the medical, the emotional, any challenges that your child has, but their strengths as well. What's their learning style and communicating that with the school staff. So not only are the kids needing to know a lot and learning a lot, but we need to make sure the school and the teachers know everything that they need to know about your child to make sure your child has a successful year as well.
Okay. How can families ease the return after a long break or extended period of time at home?
I feel like, again, some kids are so excited. They can't wait to get back to school. So I feel like in my practice, when I've been seeing kids, I've had like a 50-50, like some of the kids are like ready to go and they can't wait. Other kids are like, nope, want to stay in the summer. So, just that separation from parents or from being at home can be hard. We're starting on new routines. So typically most kids will thrive on that back to school routine because now we're going to be doing the same thing every morning. We know what our school day, we come home after school. So typically, while it's hard to get started, there are some really, like, as parents too, we're like, yay, we get to like get back to school. But it's also really beneficial for the kids to be in that routine.
Right.
So just preparing them for that back to school time, talking about school ahead of time.
Mhm.
What is their day going to be like? What are their classes going to be like? When do they have breaks? When are
Yeah.
they eating lunch? Just going through that day with them, whether it's preschool for the first time or, you know, middle school, whatever that is, going through their day so they can kind of like start processing and understanding it. Reading
Right.
books about starting school, which I do have a list, and we can probably share it if we don't have it we might have it at the end, but back to school books, just
Yeah.
talking about what school is and what are you going to be doing there and what to expect. Creating any kind of visual calendar using social stories. And we do have a Canva template that we can share. I've recently made a couple social stories for families.
Yeah.
I did one that was like going back to school, and it started with like getting ready in the morning and then going to school, what they did at school, and then coming home. And then I did another one that was specifically for the child's school day because it was going to be her first time at preschool, and there was there were some challenges. She was really anxious about just being at school. So that I made the second one that was just very specific about what was happening in her day. So talking to the teachers and saying, okay, give me a breakdown of what their day is going to be so I can you can insert pictures of their class and their teacher and just their backpack and where they put their hook on their backpack, because that's an important part of the day. You can put all of that in there.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, like you can put in general, you know, pictures of the schools and things like that.
Yeah.
I also think you can practice just short separations. Have the child go to somebody's house for 30 minutes, run to the store, or you're just going to go run an errand. This helps them like, I'm coming back, right? I'm not leaving you there. I feel like when my daughter had horrible anxiety from preschool up until like early, like elementary school. And I constantly, I always come back. Right? Yeah. I always come back. You do this, this, and this, and then I come back. So practicing that with like little, like in shorter increments can sometimes be helpful. And then highlighting, like I said, all the things that they get to do.
Right.
Like you get to meet new friends and your teacher, and you get to play with these toys, and you get to do science projects or whatever, like you can highlight for them that they're really looking forward to is really important too.
Yeah. What kinds of routines or prep activities are helpful for getting them ready?
Other than the social stories are great, especially for the younger kids, I think.
Yeah.
Like I said, you can put in, you know, placeholder pictures, and then you can adapt it and put in your own. So I love doing social stories and books, but also just going to the school, driving by the school, going through the carpool line, you know, if that's something you do. If you're able to go into the school, you know, I feel like most schools do like a meet the teacher, especially for the younger grades, obviously doing those things, but then taking pictures while you're there of the hallway, of the door they're going to go in, of their classroom, of the nurse's office, of the counselor, you know, all of those things. So you can just kind of keep reviewing it for that week, going to visit the playground if you're able to go to the playground. So all of it just kind of becomes familiar. Oh yeah, I saw them. We talked about that in the picture, and meet the counselors, the teacher, the nurse, meet those people.
Yeah.
And then just kind of going through the routine. And then younger kids, you can prepare. This gets a little bit tricky because younger kids, I always say you prepare closer to the day of, right? And older kids, you can go further out. But then also as a parent, you know your child best. Like I have parents that have been like, oh, if I do it more than like 2 days, like they're just going to be so anxious. It's going to create more anxiety than help. So like, you know your child best, but typically a general rule to follow is the younger they are, the closer to the day of you would do it. Yeah.
Okay. Do you kind of, for I guess for any child, but coming off of summer break, do you recommend like the week before, like starting to, you know, maybe go through the routine of getting ready and getting up early and getting back in that routine, getting ready for school? Or is that, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think anything to kind of help prepare them so it's not an abrupt, okay, today we're waking up at 6:30. We haven't done that for 3 months, but so if you know, like, and with most kids, transition and change is hard. And I would always try to do that with my kids. Like, okay, we're going to go ahead and get up, get dressed, have breakfast. Like, let's at least start the day that way. So it's not like a jolt on that, because it's a high emotions. Everybody's always scrambling to get out the door. I feel like it doesn't matter how much you prepare,
Yeah.
everybody's scrambling to get out the door. Right. So I think, yeah, anytime you can start that ahead of time, just to, even if it doesn't maybe change how fast or how well everything goes getting out the door, it still helps them like prepare and process like how they know it's coming.
Right. Yeah. Right. So what's the best way to communicate a child's medical or developmental needs to the school, and how much should be shared with the teachers and classmates?
I think this is really important that we make sure all the teachers, the staff, obviously the nurses and the counselor, they all know, and you share any like relevant diagnosis information or conditions that affect their learning, their emotions, their safety, talk about triggers, warning signs, and then include emergency plans as well. But I think anything that is going to affect how they learn or act in the classroom, like the school needs to know. Totally. And that can be a communication between, the parent and the teacher and the other staff members that are going to be in contact. Because if your child has a reaction to, say like noises, or there's certain visuals, and if they're doing this or whatever their trigger, whatever their typical reaction would be, or their cues are, like staff needs to know that. And then obviously in a more serious way too, of a medical condition of seizures, what do your child's seizures look like? Because seizures can look very different, right? We know this across the span. So what are some things that like teachers and staff need to be aware of? Yeah. And then as far as the child goes, I think it's important to talk to them about, how do you have this conversation? So if a classmate asks you, why are you taking that medicine? Or why do you have that, like, say it's an AFO on their foot, like, why do you have that? That would be a conversation you have with your child. So what do you want to share with your friends and classmates? Do you want them to know? Do you not want them to know? How much do you want to tell them? Because they're in charge of how much they want to share. So I love role playing those conversations with kids at home before they're in the situation and they don't know what to say.
I love that idea. And a lot of this stuff, if they have an IEP in place, like a seizure action plan could be added on and any of the
definitely
things. How can parents help their child feel more confident and comfortable in a new school environment? And are there specific strategies to support social connection or reduce anxiety?
One thing that I think we now have the like privilege of having is like social media for parents who are on social media. I mean, I guess if they're watching this, they are. But like most schools have a group for parents, either, new parents coming in or just for parents, or PTO or something like that, to engage the family. So follow that, engage in that, see if they're doing like a popsicles on the playground, or certain grade levels are meeting to get together. Anything, again, ahead of time, just to kind of meet other kids, other parents too. So, other people, like when your kids come home and they're talking about their friends, you can kind of just have those connections. Yeah. So that's all just really important for their building their social skills and their friendships as well. Yeah. So anything, and some schools had, like my kids, I think it was for like kindergarten, they had like a buddy program. So they would just match two kindergartners together so you can meet them over the summer. So that way, walking in on your first day, you at least maybe knew one kid. Right. And then of course it could like kind of snowball and you might know other people, but see if they have something like that, some kind of a like buddy program or something. Okay. Or start one if they don't.
What resources or approaches can help build emotional safety and understanding?
Talking with and emphasizing their strengths, right? We want to make sure, like, and I hear this a lot too, and I talk with kids a lot about being different. Yeah. And we're all different, right? None of us are the same anyway. So you might move differently, but the kid next to you, they learn differently than you do, and they learn differently than the kid in front of you. So everybody has, and I've had these discussions like with my kids, like everybody just learns differently. It doesn't mean you have a learning disability, like you just learn differently, and that's what we call it, and that's fine. But everybody learns differently, so we have to focus on what helps us be the best person we can. So I just love focusing on like these are the things you do really well though, right? You really love like reading this book, or you are like super kind to everybody around you. Not everybody is like that. So let's talk about those things. And then find like, what are the clubs or activities or, you know, different groups they have? Do they have like an after school thing that meets and they do STEM? Maybe they can be a part of that, or anything that they're really just interested in. Does the school have something that supports that interest or that affinity? Right. And then just normalize that everybody needs help at some point, right? Nobody walks through this world without getting help. Like we all need something from someone, whether it's a teacher or a coach or a sibling or a parent or a friend. Like that's why we're all here. That's why people are here. So we can be here to help each other and support each other. And I think teaching them to be that person too, right? I think that always builds, I think that builds a sense of confidence as well. Like your friends need you too.
Yeah. How can caregivers or parents boost their child's self-esteem during these changes?
Well, I think what I just said, I guess I didn't know. I wasn't paying attention, or exactly that, right? Yeah. Showing them things that they can help with, like building confidence. Like kids like to help, and it gives them confidence when they can be the helper, or you need them to do something, or they have an important role to play. So highlighting those things, but just listening and validating to their feelings and letting them know that they're not alone. Sometimes we don't have to jump in and we don't have to fix whatever's happening. We can just let that be and then problem solve with them. I wonder what you would do, or what do you think we should do? Do you have an idea of what you could do to help? Like we don't have to jump in and fix, because now we're strengthening their problem solving skills. We're giving them, that's a great idea. Like you should try that. I think that's what you should do. But giving them the autonomy and the independence to kind of come up with their own ideas, and celebrating all of the wins. Whether it is a huge win, a tiny win, you went to school and you were there for an hour and you didn't cry, or you didn't, you know what I mean? Like whatever your little, like, that's amazing. You did it.
And it helps them build resilience over time too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It does. Pointing out those things like, you did it. And it is really hard, right? It's really hard to do that. But look, you did it. And so now we know next time you can do it too, because you've already did this hard thing one time.
Right.
And then just obviously making sure like all of their accommodations are in place, and then knowing that they can be adjusted if need be. If what you put in place isn't actually working out the way you thought it would, whether that's because of what the environment or the routine is like, knowing that, like, make the changes to, you know, adjust and adapt to what's going to be best for them.
Right. So even when kids show school, or even when kids know that school is coming up, those expected transitions can still stir up a lot of emotions. Big changes like moving into a new grade, meeting a new teacher, or switching classrooms often bring excitement and worry at the same time. Families can help by making space for kids to express and process their feelings in healthy ways. What are some simple ways to support emotional expression at home?
Checking in with them, just checking. I feel like this is especially with like older kids, because they often won't tell you like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling so nervous about starting school. Sometimes they do, but older kids, not typically. So just, hey, school's starting soon. What are some things you want to know? Or, you know, what are you curious about this year? I feel like always just kind of helping them be curious. Like, what do you want to know about the year?
Right.
And instead of just like a closed-ended question, like, let's talk about what friends you're hoping are going to be in your class with you, or what classes are you most looking forward to. Just kind of having the discussion about it can sometimes bring up any kind of nerves and excitement at the same time.
Right.
And then just, like I said before, just validate the emotions. No need to fix anything right away. You can solve a problem together, or just validate. Yeah, this is going to be this is going to feel hard, and that's okay. Yeah. That's okay if it feels hard, but I am here and we can talk about it. I love you. I'm here to support you. Your teachers are there to support you, and just letting them know that you're here. Right. And then offering those opportunities for any kind of creative or active emotional outlets. So art and drawing and Play-Doh and building, dress up play, because kids love to like dress up and then act out different things that are happening. Sensory play, movement. So, they might come home from school, and I don't know, we might talk about this, but like, I feel like they keep it in all day at school, right?
Yeah.
Like they got to hold it together, and sometimes they do and sometimes they don't, but they're trying really hard. So when they get home, especially at the beginning, expect tantrums and meltdowns and just like losing it, right? And this is from little to older. And so they need that time for outlet. They might need time by themselves when they get home, and just to be quiet and to be in their kind of comfort space, and just to come home and watch TV, like that's okay. It's calming. Yeah, it's really, or maybe they need to go outside and throw a bunch of water balloons at the ground and just kind of let it all out. Do like a punching bag or something like that. Like there's different things. Yeah, definitely.
My HIE kiddo is starting kindergarten this year, and we had a lot of this in preschool, just exhausted after a long school day, and I imagine it goes up through high school, but it's a lot for littles, especially to hold it in all day, and then they're exhausted when they get home. And
it is. I feel like the expectations are really big for kids at school, like, and there's not a lot of time for them to like. I talked to a lot of kids who like at lunchtime, they're like, oh, I'm not allowed to talk to the table behind me. And I get like in schools, like things have to be regimented, right? Like you have to have rules, because otherwise it would be complete chaos. But like eating and mealtime is a time for socialization, and kids should be able to hang out and talk to friends then. And so the opportunities that they have to truly engage and kind of let out that energy at lunch and recess is very small. So when they get home, like they're like, I got to get this out. Right.
We did notice personally, it is really hard, especially at the beginning, like transitioning back into school. Those first, few weeks up to a couple months are especially.
Yeah. And remember too, we've talked about this before, I think, that behavior is communication. So when they come home and they're like losing their mind, like, okay, are they just overly tired? Are they overly stimulated? Are they in pain? Are they, what's going on with them? Like they're communicating, their behavior is communicating something about their day.
Yep. How might feelings show up differently depending on the child's age or developmental stage?
And we kind of just hit on this a little bit, right? Like the younger kids leads, like they might get frustrated. Well, all of them, but I feel like younger kids, especially, just frustrated more easily, which then just leads to a tantrum and a complete meltdown over like nothing. But that's just like a sign of complete frustration, being tired, and just being, they're just done. They're overwhelmed. So just being more whiny, irritable, changes in sleeping patterns are pretty normal, being more clingy, and also showing some signs of regression. So those are all like, I feel like we see those also like with hospitalizations, we see those same types of things. So it's transitions, it's times of big change. This is very common very common to see. You might also see like the younger kids just trying to assert some control and being a little bit bossy, like just like that's just the developmental stage that they're in of like trying to become autonomous from the parent, but no, I still need you kind of a thing.
So like giving them choices on things that they have control over to give them a sense of control.
Absolutely. Like you can't pick whatever you want to wear to school today, or maybe you can, but like you can pick this shirt or this shirt. And for little kids, I'd be like two options between this and this, right? This cup or this cup, this bag or this
That's what we
bag.
do at our house too.
Yeah, for sure. Like then they get some control, right? Yeah, that's so important for younger kids. I feel like on these big changes and things, but like, and in the hospital, super important. So it just could kind of carry over into all aspects of life, really. And then for older kids, it's more physical, like it's headaches and stomach aches. You might have some emotional outburst of just, screaming and yelling, crying, irritable, tired, just moody, withdrawn a little bit. Like these are all just kind of their normal, like just adjusting to the transition and being back to school and the expectations that are coming. But yeah, it's all normal, and it will pass, but we all just gotta, like, we all just have to, we're getting through it too as parents, right? Yeah.
And I feel like this holds true to most children, not
absolutely
with or without HIE diagnosis.
Absolutely. Yep. I agree. It does.
So even with the best preparation, life brings unexpected moments like sudden hospitalizations, a classroom change, or shifts in friendships. The same tools that help with expected transitions can be adapted to support kids throughout these times as well. So, how can these routines and tools be used for used for school transitions be adapted to help children to feel secure during unexpected changes?
When I think like with every school, we always have like the emergency plan, right? Or the emergency card and things like that. Like that's just a normal part of, but this I think is more of, and I think more honestly, I think more of like siblings when I think of this question, because if something unexpected happens at school and someone gets hurt or someone gets sick and then you're going to the doctor straight from school or a hospital admission, I feel like an unexpected admission of some kind. I mean, the other thing we could talk about with school, everybody getting together, everybody's going to get sick, right? Because now all of a sudden we're together again, and then it's cold flu season, and it's like, so when all of this happens, I think talking especially with the other members of the family or the siblings, like, hey, if your brother gets sick and we're at the hospital, like, let's talk about how this plan is going to work. Do you want to know during your school day? Or would you like to wait to the end of the school day for somebody to tell you? Like, do you know, like some kids are like, I want to know immediately. I need to know where you guys are all the time. Other kids are like, nah, I don't want it to mess up my day. I need to know at the end. And then as a parent, you know your child better too. Like, I don't want to mess up their school day. It's not going to make a difference. So, but again, just things to communicate. And when you include the children in this conversation, it helps them feel like a very important member of their family. And that helps them feel like things are more predictable, which leads to just general safety, right? We need to know where our family is. And so if that happens, if I'm at the doctor or the hospital with your brother, this is the person who's picking you up. This is where you're going after school. And then I will call you after you get out of school to let you know the plan for the evening or who's taking you, just so you have something planned out and you can tell them what's going to happen. Or if I ever have to do that, grandma will be the one to call you and give you the update. Like, if, you know, cause I can't, whatever's happening. But I think just kind of letting them know and including them is really the most important part.
I feel like that definitely would help them to feel like an important part of, even though, you know, your sibling has all these medical needs and maybe, you know, extra attention in some areas, that they still get, you know, that community.
Like we need to know your input. We want to know what you think and what's going to help you, right?
What additional resources or recommendations do you have for parents to help them to prepare their child for back to school and other types of transitions?
Well, first I would definitely say like the social stories. So we will include that template that is, parents can edit that and add their own things in, because I think those are really helpful. We did just post some inclusion books, which I think are really helpful. And I have a larger list of like back to school books that we're going to put out too. And then I think Jacqueline, you and I think I've talked about this, but is May's storybook on Instagram, if anybody's on there.
She's fantastic.
Oh my gosh, she does
all the things, all different types of books
about anything you could possibly, but she has back to school, she has inclusion, she has just everything. Excuse me. So I love following her and just seeing what books she recommends and then going and find them at the library or wherever first, just to kind of read about them. But we do have a lot of book resources that we will post for reading, like back to school and things like that.
Okay, I think that's all my questions. Annie, thanks so much for being here again and for sharing all these helpful ideas as our families are heading back to school. We'll be back again in September with our next monthly Child Life Q&A. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.